Hello everyone, BuilderBro07 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be making a color line follower MyBlock with inputs. And today's topic is moving for distance. And the lesson objectives are to learn how to write a line follower that takes multiple inputs, learn how to write a line follower that stops after a certain number of degrees, and practice making a useful MyBlock once more. Let's begin. So making a MyBlock out of your line follower reduces the length of your code and makes it reusable. So what this means is that some line followers can be really long, and that makes your whole entire code really long and hard to read. And it's not good. So using a MyBlock and making it out of MyBlock makes it so much easier and makes it reusable because you can use it in different programs as well. And what's good about line followers is that they are really accurate and they help with your whole entire program by making it more reliable and accurate. And what happens then is that you have more trust in your robot that it's going to do the right thing multiple times and again. And also, if it's reusable, that's very good because you will use line followers a lot in different competitions like FLL and WRO or any other robotics competitions. And if you have to make a line follower every single time for every different case or scenario, that's not good. And using a MyBlock that has multiple inputs, including power, degrees, and color, can be very useful because all you have to do is change one input if you want to change anything. So let's say you want to change the distance or the degrees or color. If you just want to change one of those things, then all you have to do is just change it in the inputs instead of making a whole new line follower adjusting just one little thing. And some tips to succeed are that you will need to know how to make a simple color line follower program, which you have covered here in our last video or last videos. And as you guys can tell, I have the basic line follower opened up right here, and we have made that before on our channel. So go check that out if you haven't already. And since you will use your EV3 color sensor in color mode, you won't have to calibrate your color sensor for this lesson. And if you have done FLL before, you might know that before a robot run or something, you might need to calibrate some of your sensors. And so you also want to check which ports you have your color sensor connected to, like port 1, 2, 3, or 4, and adjust the code as needed. Because if it's not connected to a color sensor, what is it doing? And you may need or have to adjust the speed or direction to work for your robot, and make sure that the color sensor is in front of the wheels in the direction of travel, and make sure you place the robot on the side of the line that you're following. The most common mistake is placing the robot on the wrong side of the line to begin with. So let's take this blue line for example. So let's say you program your robot to start on this line, because based on which side of the line the robot's on, the program will change most of the time. And as you see here, if it's right here and you program it to be like that, and if you place it right here, then it will just go crazy. Because let's say you have to turn left, so your robot's driving this way. If you turn left, if it sees the white, which will go back on the line, and if it's like right here, if it does, then turn right. It won't work if you're on the other side of the line, because once you turn left here, then there's no line, as you guys can see. So that's very important to take note of. And we'll also be learning a new block, which is the sensor block, and from the yellow tab, as you guys can see here, and it kind of looks like a motor that we used in the machines and mechanisms and contraptions videos. And it kind of looks like a medium motor right here, and there are many useful modes. As you guys can see, there are measure, compare, and reset, and we'll be using reset today. But for measure, there are degrees, rotation, current, power, which is very useful in FLL as well. And what the reset mode does is that it will set the value in the sensor to 0, which is important if you want to use line follower or any other program that requires the motors to start at 0 every single time. And color follower for distance. So there are multiple steps that you'll need. We have step 1, create a simple color line follower, which we already have in one of our previous videos, so go check that out if you haven't already once more. Step 2 is include a reset the rotation block, which is this block right here, to delete any prior readings. And then we'll exit the line follower loop when the robot has moved a certain degrees. And then we'll create a MyBlock with the code in step 2 with inputs for degrees, power, color to make it very reusable and very efficient. And wire the inputs in the MyBlock finally. So step 1 is to create this line follower, simple line follower that if you haven't already, and these blue blocks are just here for the notes, and they don't do much. And as you see here, I've already created that in the Lego Mindstorms, and I don't have the blue blocks, which can be found last, the comment block can be found last block in the blue tab, which is right here, and you can drag it out and type anything you want. But since I already have a comment up here and I'm speaking to you guys right now, I don't feel the need for that. And you can always do that if you want, and that's your personal preference. And let's go back to the website. And as you see here, if you have finished creating it, and then let's go to step 2. So what we need to add is we need to add a reset and loop exit. So right now my loop is set on 1 count, as you guys can see here. So this only repeats 1 time. But then we want to change that so until it's greater than, like the motor is greater than 720 degrees. So let's do that right now. And what we want to do is we want to take one of those blocks, the reset blocks or motor blocks, sensor blocks, whatever, motor rotation, and we can take it 5th from left in the yellow tab, sensor tab. And we'll drag it out like so. And right here, what you notice is that it was not the one that was shown on the image. So what you need to do to change that is you want to go to reset and press this button and press reset, and then you have finished the first step. And then what you want to do is you want to change this button in the loop back to the motor rotation of degrees. And then you want to change this number from 90 to 720. And you can keep this like so. And you can find motor rotation 5th from top and you'll do degrees. Because we're going to do that until 720 degrees or greater than, right? And then we can do step 3, I believe. So let's do that right now. What you want to do is you want to highlight all the blocks, and then we have to add 3 inputs, 1 for power, which is the middle one right here, as you guys can see, 1 for degrees, and 1 for color. And then we can edit the parameters and name the MyBlock, add the description, add all the icons, and such. And this is what we did in one of our previous videos for the MyBlocks with inputs and outputs, so you watch that if you haven't and if you're confused right now. And so let's begin again. So what we want to do is we want to select both of the blocks and go to Tools, MyBlock Builder, and then we can add a MyBlock name, which I'll name Color Line Follower, and then we'll add a description. So this MyBlock creates a reusable line follower with power, degrees, and color. And you can do anything along those lines. You can copy it. You can do anything you want. But that's what I wrote. And that's your personal preference. And for the MyBlock icon, I'll choose the color sensor, as you guys can see here. And then we have to add 3 parameters, 1, 2, 3. And then now we can do parameter setup. So the first one will be named degrees. And you can leave all these default settings as so. And we'll change the parameter icon to degrees, which should be located somewhere in the middle. I just found it right here. So as you guys see, it's somewhere in the middle, exactly in the middle kind of, but it's like right here. And I chose 90 degrees. And now we can do the next parameter setup, which is power. So name the power, leave everything else the same. And then we can just choose any of one of these power icons that you want. I'll personally choose that one, which is kind of halfway through. And then you can finally do parameter setup of the last one, which is color. And you leave everything else the same. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my favorite color, which is light blue, and pick it like that. None of these icons really matter, but for the color, you want to choose a color because that makes sense. And then power, choose power, and degrees, choose degree. And then after you're done with that, you can always pause this video if you're lagging. Go at your own pace. It doesn't really matter. Press finish. And then after you have done that, what you want to do is you want to go back to the website, and we can learn more from there. And then you want to wire the MyBlock. So what you want to do is you want to take this color and wire into here, as you guys can see. So the color goes into the color that you wanna follow, and the power goes to power, as you guys can see here in the block, and you want to do degrees to the very end degrees. So the degrees input goes into the loop exit condition, the power goes into the power input of the move steering block, and the color goes into the color input for the switch. And for some reason, mine wasn't working when I selected both of them, but you can always try once again if it doesn't work. But it should end up like 2 programs, and this should include this block, but as you guys can see here, it didn't really work for me. But that's fine. You can always learn off of here. And step 3C is using the MyBlock. So as you guys can see, you can always change the degrees, power, and color any way you want, and this can make it very, very useful, as you can use it multiple times, one time after another, and you can always change the different parameters of it, and I will definitely be using that in some of my future videos, because this looks like it's very, very useful, and I would definitely recommend you check it out. And as you see here, the first block alone solves the challenge of line follow for 720 degrees, which we just worked on. And the second block in the code right here is to show that the same block can be used with different inputs. So this degree is a different input, the power is the different input, and the color is a different input. And there's a color key, and you can always read this stuff back on the eb3lesson.com website if you want. Highly suggest you check it out. And as always, it's been BuilderBro07 again. Have a great day, build on, and see you in the next one.